everybody, welcome to G4G here on YouTube. I'm your host, Napalm Dawn. So today I wanted to go ahead and discuss with you the article that came out that referenced the fact that does, Blizzard listen to its people, or doesn't it? And the assistant game director, Ian Hazakostas, I'm just going to call him Ian Halitosis, has come out and responded to the thought that, where is my Mark of the Wild? I don't have Mark of the Wild anymore? Okay, well, that's interesting. So, he's come out and said basically that I hate these beta things. We do listen, but we can't please everybody because everybody is a minority. And I'm sort of not very fond of that. Camera file style. And he basically... Aha, there we go. That's okay. He's basically sitting there saying that, everybody is a minority. A minority of people raid. A minority of people PvP. A minority of people mythic raid and do rated PvP. So essentially he's trying to say we can't please everybody because of the fact that everybody is a minority. And you may think that
be good.
Your group isn't a majority. Because it's probably somewhat natural to feel that way. But the issue is, somebody, by nature of math, has to be a majority, even if it's one account. If there are 10 people who play this game, and you look at them, the chances are that it's one of this person, one of this person, one of that person, the chances are that you have 10 differently classified people would be ridiculous. There has to be something in there that is a majority. And wow, this is super laggy. This is not good. This is kind of awful. Hopefully this settles in here. There just has to be. And what is their data collection process?
Sylvanas and the main fleet arrived a few hours ago.
Do they
Demons
define
covering the whole island.
who belongs into what category? If I am the last person in World of Warcraft, and you look at my account, and I have 5 characters. One of which is a big fat druid raiding bear, main tank of the guild, does raids, does the active content, does whatever is appropriate for the endgame. Right behind the bear is a backup pally tank that is also capped level, but doesn't really raid, is undergeared, maybe at best does the LFR versions of stuff, but that's really about it. And then you have 3 other tunes of assorted classes that are not the maximum level. At that point in time, does Blizzard look and say, oh, well, only 20% of the people raid because they're looking at my druid? and they're going, oh, well, there's only 100 that is active and raids and plays and does the high level stuff. So therefore it's only 20%. Or do they properly look at the fact that it is 100% of the people that raid? Because it's not the character that raids, it is the human being behind it. That's where we have to be careful of their stats that they're putting out there when they say that the minority of people raid and the minority of people PvP and everything like that. I would imagine that if there is a majority in the game, that it probably has to be raiders. It just sounds like in WoW's history, that has to be the one that is the majority. And, you know, where are they getting their data from? Are they looking at it now, at the time that this comment was released? Because, honestly, that's not fair to anybody involved to look at the active content of the game and say, oh, well, you know, a minority of people raiding. Well, first of all, if you look at it now, that's because Blizzard, you're fucking bastards, and you have alienated your raiders. You have stuffed us with this content in the end of Warlords of Draenor with no boost to the story. We have no new content. And they didn't learn, proof that Blizzard doesn't listen, they didn't learn from MOP. You can't do that. You cannot sit people in the same stinking sewer of a fight and a raid and just keep it going for more than a year. I mean, that never happens in an expansion's life cycle, so why is it allowed to happen at the end? Why are they doing this, and why did they not learn from MOP? I mean, they pulled this shit in Miss Pandaria, and it was a very active complaint, and it was a very valid complaint, and yet here we are doing it again. And alright, so we finally have a street date for Legion, and it's the end of August. Oh boy, they beat their September prediction by a day. It's almost like saying, oh, it costs under $10. Yeah, $9.99 is yeah, okay, it's under $10, but I mean, we're splitting hairs here at this point. So, where do they get their data from when they say this? The the minority of people raid, the minority of people PvP. PvP is such a dicey thing to quantify. What counts as doing PvP? I mean, I'm really curious about that. If you think about it, in Mists of Pandaria, there was a quest that almost everybody was on, if they were doing the Prince Rings, where they had to get several victories in PvP. Does that count as PvP for them? What is their definition of it? I mean, in vanilla, I had my Warlock going for High Warlord gear. I did Eye of the Storm when it was new and fresh, and I've never really PvP'd since then. Do I classify because I've done it in my lifetime, or do I not classify because I'm not doing it currently? Where's the cutoff? You know, when they say, oh, it's a minority of people that raid and blah blah blah. let's take a somewhat realistic example over here. Say I'm in a guild on a server, and I spend 90% of my WoW time over there. It's kind of a friendly guild. It's a social guild. It's made up of tons of friends and family, and they do dungeons, and they do quests outdoors, and, you know, they get together, do LFR sometime, and, you know, they hang out. They're just kind of chill. They're not actively pushing the aggressive content, and we don't really raid. Meanwhile, in a kind of mercenary structure, a sort of Ronin of WoW, I have my druid, my big fat bear, on a server that's very active, and I raid for that guild, but it's only 10% of the time. I log in, I raid 2-3 times a week with those guys. The raid is over, I log the fuck out, and I get back over to my, like, happy friendly people, blah blah blah. Am I classified as a raider at that point? Despite the fact that 90% of my time is social, and it's not even my main account, and that's like Robotech. It's like the Zentradi are just warping in over here. It's a fold device. You know, how do they define their data gathering? And I just think it's a very unfair statement to make now. And all this controversy is because there is a mount that is going to be coming out in Legion that is a gigantic fucking spider the size of Texas. And I mean, it is a cool mount. I've seen some graphics of a human sitting on it, and, you know, you sit really low on the mount, and the legs are really tall and come up from, like, your low sitting crotch and come up above you. It's a really awesome looking mount, but it's going to be 2 million gold. And the deal is that, like, hey Blizz, you're making this inaccessible to the general populace, and Blizz is like, we understand that. This is for a minority. This is a cool thing that the people who want to build up their gold to the level of 2 million can go ahead and do so. And this is their nice little reward. So we're listening. We're just, you know, understand you may not be part of that minority, and you may be bitching about it. Honestly, I mean, 2 million gold sounds fucking extravagant from hell. And this is just a cosmetic mount. This is, I don't think it's like a high-speed mount. It doesn't have, like, little spiraling vendors on it or transmogs. It's not the yak. It's not the hodier repair mount or anything. It's just a visually unique mount. And they said, you know, if we do a mount that's exclusive to PvP, you know, we would have the same thing. I think what they're doing is that they're going to force a culture of people that may go out and buy gold from sites. And I don't think they've thought out the ramifications of this from a player perspective. So I stream several games on Twitch, and during the streaming session we were talking about this, and somebody brought up, it was not even a Blizzard game at the time that I was streaming, somebody brought up, like, why not just go to a gold selling site and get the gold for it? And, like, it just struck me like, duh, that's like fucking genius. You have an amazing point there. The problem is, gold selling is not it's not a trustworthy enterprise anymore. You know, back in vanilla, I totally admit I bought gold, and you will find a lot of people will admit that. And they'll say, oh yeah, vanilla, $10, get 2,000 gold? Yeah, absolutely, I fucking did that shit. Yeah. Why? I mean, because that was the culture at the time, that your epic mount, your riding was expensive, and your epic mount was expensive, and sometimes some higher level crafting stuff was expensive, and gold selling was not such a disreputable enterprise at the time. It was fairly legit. Hell, there was on my server, Bloodhoof, there was a gold-selling clan, a gold-selling guild called I'm Going to Die. Called Get the Fuck Off Me. Okay, they don't want to get off me. So I'm probably gonna die here, baby. Possibly. Oh, yeah. Death imminent. I cannot shake him, Captain. Oh, Jesus. So, neato. We all died. I don't know what we're doing here. So, it you know, it was not such a sketchy endeavor to take at the time. And then somewhere in Wrath, was it Wrath? Somewhere in TBC, I thought about getting out of the game. It was TBC or Wrath. And I was like, I wonder how much I can get for my characters. And like I googled WoW character sales or something, and I went to a website, and little did I know that site injected me with a key stealer. But I happened to do it on my secondary computer, which was a laptop. And I never really wowed on that laptop. And then one day, I happened to need to go to Blizzard support because a member of my guild was hacked. And I opened up a ticket to report it because they raped the vault. When I signed into my Battle.net account on that laptop, the key stealer kicked in, even though I wasn't in the game, but I was using my Battle.net login. Key stealer kicked in, and I got hacked. And that's when I realized I had a long dormant key stealer in there. And that was from, you know, a character selling site. Gold selling sites are no better. So Blizzard could potentially force a culture of people buying gold simply to get them out, and possibly subjecting their accounts to great risk. You know, lots of people should, you know, be using two-factor authentication at this point, but we all know that's kind of cumbersome for people. They may not want the physical fob, they may feel they lose it constantly, or, you know, maybe they just don't want that kind of an app on their phone. So, thinking of it from a player perspective, Blizzard could be really screwing themselves over by making this mount so incredibly expensive. Do we know what the money culture is going to be like when Legion comes out? Maybe there will be clear professions that you can legitimately build yourself up this way. You know, possible. But no, I believe the proof is in that Blizzard does not effectively listen to its player base quite so well. And I don't mean highly vocal minorities or something like, Blizzard, you need to change female orcs because their butts are too perfect, and that is not, that's an unfair ideal to women and blah, blah. Not something like that, but I'm saying, like, for the years that people have complained about issues in the Hunter class, and they just don't listen and they make the changes, and the feedback was there in MoP, stop fucking giving us a year of a raid tier. Especially at the end of an expansion. And you know what? They did it again. And they said, alright, garrisons, dude, the honeymoon period is holy shit. Wow. Fucking live and learn over here. You know, the honeymoon period is off when it comes to garrisons and those stupid fucking tables and shit. It's... You realize now that the person sleeping next to you fucking smells and farts in their sleep and throws dirty dishes in the sink and leaves them there until somebody else cleans them, and dislikes your family, and your dog hates that person. It's like all of a sudden everything is wrong, and it's being realized, and that's how people are feeling about garrison missions and everything now, that follower table. And there's proof right now, and people are talking about, is that they're doing it again in the class halls. It's coming back. There's footage of it. I believe it was Force Gaming who did it. The followers are back. Did they not learn that people don't want this? And I think it's very easy for Ian Halitosis over here to say, oh, we're gonna do it anyway because, you know, it's just a minority of people who are gonna complain about it, and this mount is for a minority of people, and followers are for a minority of people, and no, if you make it such a core feature of the gameplay, it's no longer for a minority. And no, I do not believe that raiders are a minority. It is what the game now is really built on. This is not a super grindy game, and it's not a Korean MMO, so you can't say, oh, this game is about the grind. It is about Blizzard Legacy. It is about story. It is about this universe that we've been vested in for over 11 years now. It is about a universe that is going to hit mainstream media with the movie. But it is so much about raiding. Maybe not the mythic tier, but raiding of some form, I do believe, is the majority of this. And it's slightly younger brother that kind of gets the wingmen girls that the main brother just casts aside, like, well, that's the ugly one, you get a crack at this one today. That's probably PvP. I mean, PvP for them is huge. It's on a worldwide stage at BlizzCon, and, you know, people talk about PvP compositions, and, you know, to them, what really is PvP? Is it the casual who goes into Warsong Gulch every now and then for fun, or is it someone doing raided or arena? I mean, they need to define themselves better before they paint these gigantic, this guy is such a dick, these gigantic brushstrokes in these statements that they're saying. You know, I mean, how can everybody be in the minority? Somebody has to be in the majority there. And I truly do believe it's Raiders. And I think they need to look at the history of the game for that data to make that statement, not just now. Because, like, right now, I am a WoW player to a certain degree, but I'm not a raider anymore because of fucking Blizzard. They ruined it. My guild, which has been active since 2004, and we have a charter date of January of 2005. Oh, people are dying again. And we have one of the oldest active Horde charters on our server. and it's over 11 years old. I mean, but we're not raiding now for the first time in our career because of what Blizzard did. And hopefully Blizzard brings it back for Legion. I mean, they gambled on this so bad. When they took all of their resources and said, Tom, Dick, Harry, you need to get out of WoD, and we're going to move you over to the Legion stuff. They are putting all their eggs in the basket that is Legion, saying Legion has to be so fucking amazing that it pulls everybody back that we lost. That's a gamble, and it may be a very unsafe gamble. Perhaps what they could have done is played it a little bit safer and said the majority of our resources will go into Legion, but we will still have some people producing content for WoD, so that the slide is greased from WoD to Legion. You can more easily transfer between the expansions because you have been led there for all these months. But that's not what has happened. They've made a very sharp definition, a little under a year ago, maybe 9-10 months ago, where we found out this was our last tier, we're not getting any new content, and it's all going to be Legion after this. And everybody went, whoop, and just threw their keyboards out the window and stopped playing WoW. How many of those people have killed their subs, or how many people have maintained the subs and just don't log in regularly anymore? That's a key that needs to be addressed. But Blizzard is playing a dangerous game, and Blizzard's game is getting even more dangerous with the shutdown of Nostarius. They might be pigeonholing themselves into a really shitty public profile. I was a public relations major when I was in college. I know about bad moves. We've done case studies and, Delta Airlines with plane crashes and cyanide and Tylenol and, dozens of cases of good and bad PR. And Blizzard could be... No, that guy didn't look like he was in good shape. Blizzard could be really backing themselves into a corner. And they might just be making it so that people don't like Blizzard at this point for these actions. And that's something that they need to be really careful about. The movie better be good, and better be like Lord of the fucking Rings epic and quality. Legion better do 90% right, maybe only 10% wrong. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble. I'm not saying that there's games out that can take their place right now. Every WoW killer that's ever come along has just simply killed itself. Age of Conan, Aeon, Wildstar, Swoder. Wildstar is a case of we thought we listened, but I guess we were wrong. Like, everybody wants to return to the old school stuff and hard stuff. And the real backbreaking, make you work for it, and the tuning and keying and everything like that. And you know what? Wildstar was wrong, and then they crashed, and it was free to play. Now counter to that, I read an article recently that basically said there are no more heroes in World of Warcraft. That was the premise of this article, and it was like, remember back in vanilla where people were unique? And they were, in fact, certain people who were heroes. And that's like the warlock who had all the stuff to help another warlock gain their mount in Dire Maul. Oh, let's bring Napalm. His warlock's got the bell, the book, the candle, and the incense, and the brazier, and the hellstones, and we'll bring him because he has all of it, and I don't have to pay for it. Or let's bring this guy. He's got the key to Ubers, and let's bring this rogue. He can pick the lock for Skullomance, and let's bring this shaman. He's got the Dawn's Gambit box for Skullomance, and there were heroes in vanilla. There were people who did unique jobs, and that has kind of faded out. Or let's go bring this guy. He's done Benediction before. He'll help us do the Benediction quest. And this guy's done Rockdalar for Hunters before. He can help you find the demon for it. I mean, there was something to that in vanilla, but all the quality of life that we've had since vanilla has been to the better. And I think WildStar has proven that you can't go back again. You really can't make a game solely based on that old school style of doing things. We've adapted to the newer games. We've gotten lazier. Our ADHD has grown. Our tolerance for bullshit and our patience for working our way up to all these things isn't there anymore. Can you blame expansions like Wrath, where maybe everything was a little too easy and the whole term Wrath babies came across? Maybe. Cataclysm was harder. Cataclysm didn't kill the game. You didn't see people going, oh god, fucking Wrath was so easy, now Cataclysm's such a dick, and holy shit, like, fuck this game, it's too hard now. We all adapted, but the movie better be good, and Legion better be good. Because if it's not, WoW is gonna lose its power position in the market. You could still get a token and pay for your account, but we are one of the few that is still on a premium model and is allowed to get away with it. And people are like, yeah, I'll pay this amount of money for a sub. I paid for a Rift sub when I was playing WoW, only because it was $9.99. When Swoder came out, had a full power sub, no. Didn't do it. When WildStar came out and had a full power sub, I did it for a tiny bit, got brute force hacked, got my account recovered, not the exact way that I left it. It was a pretty shitty recovery. I was like, fuck you. And I'm out. Swoder's customer service was so bad with EA and everything, I was like, fuck you, I'm out. I won't dedicate more than one full-priced sub outside of WoW. And hopefully Legion is good enough to keep me here and not decide to go elsewhere. And I think a lot of people do share some similar opinions to that. So that's my thoughts on Blizzard saying, Blizzard's response to, oh, you don't listen, Blizzard, you don't listen, blah, blah, blah. I kind of think their track record, no matter what they say, has proven that perhaps they just really don't. So, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Peace out. Take care. See you in Legion.